been a while since I've done any content. So today, I've got some pretty good news for people. One of the first acts that the Trump administration engaged in was illegally firing one of the heads of the NLRB. The NLRB is the organization that protects unions in the United States. So if you're a part of a union, or you were trying to create a union, it is through the NLRB that your rights are protected from corporate or government abuse. So the woman who was fired illegally sued the Trump administration, and it went to federal court, and now this federal judge has ruled in favor of her, condemning the Trump administration in very, very clear terms. And I want to read to you what this federal judge said in response to the president. Quote, "A president who touts an image of himself as a king or a dictator, perhaps as his vision of effective leadership, fundamentally misapprehends the role under Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. In our constitutional order, the president is tasked to be a conscientious custodian of the law, albeit an energetic one, to take care of effectuating his enumerated duties, including the laws enacted by Congress and interpreted by the judiciary. At issue in this case is the president's insistence that he has the authority to fire whomever he wants within the executive branch, overriding any congressionally mandated law in this way. Luckily, the framers, anticipating such a power grab, vested in Article 3, not Article 2, the power to interpret the law, including resolving conflicts about congressional checks on presidential authority. The president's interpretation of the scope of his constitutional power, or more aptly, his aspiration, is flat wrong." That is an overt condemnation of this president. That is going to be, this is probably going to be something that goes to the Supreme Court, or at least he's going to try to push it to the Supreme Court, because he will not be able to stand in the face of such a overt condemnation of what it is he's trying to pull. Earlier in this statement, I'm going to scroll up here, there was mention, let me find it here for you. Yeah. So, this was back in 1926 by Justice Louis Brandy. I don't know how to say his name, sorry. As Justice Louis Brandy eloquently opined, quote, "Checks and balances were established in order that this should be a government of laws and not men, observing further that the separation of powers was not adopted to promote efficiency, but to preclude the exercise of arbitrary power. The purpose was not to avoid friction, but by means of inevitable friction incident to the distribution of the governmental powers among three departments to save the people from autocracy." Myers versus United States, 1926. This system that we've got is designed deliberately, from now a century past, was recognized that the way our government functions is deliberately designed to push away autocratic moments. Now, I'm not saying that we have all the guardrails that we need, and I'm not saying that we have all the brave people within Congress to stand up like they should. But what we do have is a dense legal history recognizing what it is Trump is trying to do. And not every judge is going to roll over and just let him get away with it. He wants to create a constitutional crisis, and he's going to get one.